When I was little, I was raised in a working class family. My father was a baker in a bakery, and we never talked about careers or education or what you're going to do. And people would ask you, relatives, friends, what do you want to be when you grow up? I had no idea. I always just said a teacher, because that would be great rewards. Oh, you want to be a teacher? You're going to work with little children. So I always said a teacher. And it's funny that at the end of, that's where I did end up. So I graduated high school. I didn't bother filling out the applications to go to university. I went out and got a job. But I worked hard, and my mind works logically, and I was working for a large insurance company that was computerizing. And in those days, late 60s, early 70s, that meant those big machines. And so the company trained me. They sent me to IBM to be trained as a computer programmer. And for the next 10 years, I was a computer programmer and a consultant. I decided that at that point, 10 years later, I needed a university degree. So I went back to school and I got a degree in biochemistry. To support myself during that, I opened a property management company, and I was a property manager for a couple of condominium apartment buildings. I started graduate school and got pregnant and decided that I'd rather stay home with my child than continue the studies. So I stayed at home for about 5 years and sent my daughter to a Waldorf school, which is where I learned about art being a part of life. And so I started working at the school. I became the administrator. Well, first I opened a little store to raise funds for tuition assistance. We didn't want the school to be a school for rich kids, so I ran the school store for 2 years, and then I became the assistant to the administrator and then the administrator. But I burnt myself out, really working hard, and was exhausted, and it was time for something new. And something that had always been kicking around in the back of my mind was to have a retail store in cookware, because I love cooking, I love cookware. So I went to work for a cookware store and had a wonderful time and decided, yep, I was going to do this. So I found myself a year later opening my own cookware store in Toronto, and I ran it for 14 years. While I had the cookware store, I developed a training program for my staff in customer service. It used artistic and other activities to illustrate customer service themes. So I started the program for my staff at the cookware store, and in 2008, when the economy was failing, we ran the program over a year, once a month, and each month we would learn a theme and we would practice it throughout the month, working with each other, paying attention to this or that, working with our voices, working with our bodies, smiling, eye contact, the two most important things in customer service or building a relationship. I wanted to take the customer service program on the road. I felt that Toronto was really lacking in customer service. I wanted to help that, make it a friendlier, kinder city. I went back to school at George Brown, and I studied instructing adults. I thought that having the certificate from George Brown in instructing adults would give me a line on my resume, make me more credible. In fact, I learned so much. I revamped the whole program. I got more coaches and people who knew how to work with the arts involved, and ended up with a contract through one of the Ontario supported employment agencies, where I've been working for a couple of years. So it's incredibly exciting. I've loved everything I've ever done, but if you look at the resume before now, well, even now, I have always been in customer service. Computer consulting, property management, administration in a school, retail, always in customer service. So that's the theme that's been flowing through my life. And yes, I have loved every job. I usually have worked in something 5 to 10 years, although the store was 14, but have loved everything. And I'm really loving this and meeting incredibly creative people. So, yes. I have a website, TheArtofCustomerService.ca. That's the name of the company, because customer service is an art and we use art. So and email me.